Hey, in El Cajon, California, turns out there was a police shooting. September. Here we are. This is from the WHIO, Breaking News, Weather, and Traffic. Police released this image of the shooting. It's a single frame taken from one of the videos of the incident late Tuesday. They don't release the video. They just released the one frame of a video that is the most advantageous to the cops who killed a guy who was, by the way, not committing a crime and mentally ill. So they showed up and they shoot him. So here...
is that policy now?
That's policy.
At this point, I think it is.
So according to the San Diego Union Tribune, El Cajon police responded to multiple reports of an erratic pedestrian walking in traffic near a strip mall around 2 p.m. Police say late Tuesday that it took them 50 minutes to respond.
50.
So people call. There's a guy in traffic, or a guy acting erratically at a strip mall.
They had the information that he was mentally ill too. Like that was something that
I'm going to find out. I don't think they did. Well, the sister did.
Yeah,
the sister called.
The sister
but
called.
But whether they
gave
relay that information, you never know. Just like with Tamir Rice, the person did say, "I don't know if it's a real gun. It might be a toy gun." They never forwarded that info to the guy who killed it. The officers, it took them 50 minutes to respond after receiving the first call, presumably from a woman who said she was the man's sister. Officers said they used a taser and then opened fire after the man failed to follow their commands. So this whole thing of they always escalate. He didn't follow my commands. What's the next step? Shoot him. They don't go, I don't know, let's retreat to our cars where everyone's safe. And let's think about it. Let's maybe bring in some mental health professionals. Let's bring in some more cops. No, shoot him. Literally, that's their training. They're trained to give him a command. Did he not respond? Shoot him.
The lesson here is make sure your kids play a lot of Simon Says and they play it well.
Yes. Thank you, Robert Yasamura. That is true. The officers said they used a taser and opened fire after the man failed to follow their commands and appeared to pull an object out of his pocket, holding it in an apparent shooting stance. So that would be this. So these are cops, and that's the guy. Except he's not holding a gun. He's crazy. He has mental illness. You know, I have mental illness. I had to go on psychiatric drugs to cure to help treat my anxiety and depression. I'm sure a lot of people have mental illness. This guy's mentally ill. He's not. At the news conference late Tuesday, police confirmed that no firearm was recovered. And according to KSWB, witnesses said that the man was unarmed and mentally ill. Some bystanders said the man had his hands up. While describing the incident to KNSD, witness Michael Ray Rodriguez. Michael Ray Rodriguez said the man's hands are up, no shirt. He didn't have no shirt, said Michael Ray Rodriguez. El Cajon police denied those claims in a tweet Tuesday, saying that in video voluntarily provided by a witness, the subject did not have his hands up in the air.
Yet they won't release those videos.
But they won't release the video. So that's always suspect when they won't release the video. Again, just imagine these are Jewish guys. Imagine if Jewish people unarmed Jewish guys were being killed, and you knew they were Jewish because they had yarmulkes on. Just imagine that was happening all around the country. Something would happen. Something would be happening right now. I mean, it's got to feel, if you're I'm not black, but it's got to feel horrible to live in this country knowing the government gives guns to maniacs who are racist in many of the instances. And they're the most jumpy people in the whole goddamn neighborhood. You know that idea of a cop's number one job is to make sure they come home safe at night? That's not their job. Their job is to make sure that guy comes home safe. Their job is to make sure everybody else comes home safe. They're supposed to put their lives in harm's way. If you shoot everything that scares you, you're not risking your life. Now you're acting like I would act. What's the difference between a cop and me if you're shooting everything that makes you nervous? Especially mentally ill people, you're shooting them. So there's more to this. Here's what we know. A now viral Facebook Live video captured the aftermath of the shooting, which I don't want to show. It's because it's a 25-minute video and it was posted by Rumbi Mubaiwa. I can't pronounce that correctly. It's a woman.
Pronounced Rodriguez.
A woman cries that she had called the police to help the man, who she said was her brother.
Oh.
Quote, I just called for help and you came and killed him, she says on the videotape. She later asked, don't you guys have a crisis communication team to talk to somebody who's mentally sick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that clip, and that's what I was referring to when I was like, they knew that. Yeah, I was referring to her phone call. And
don't you guys have a team? No, quit. Stop calling the cops when mentally ill people are in crisis. You know that saying, if your only tool is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail? Well, their only tool is a gun. And so every problem looks like something they need to shoot. If your house was on fire and you called the cops, they'd show up and shoot your house. Don't call the cops. Only call the cops if you want them to shoot you.
They need to stop carrying guns. I'm sorry.
Robert, that's so funny you said that because I tweeted that out this morning. I'm like, hey, how about we have cops no longer carry guns? And if there's a situation that calls for a gun, they have to call like they call. They have to keep the guns in their car and locked up.
But the way the British do it, no, because they just go.
They would just take them out. I know.
But the way the British do it, and I think the way like a couple of Northern European countries do it, is the cops, the standard beat cops don't carry guns, and if there's a firearms situation,
they call the SWAT team or the firearms team. I texted that to Michael Wood, who's been a guest on this show, police officer sergeant from Baltimore, who now was running to try to take over a police department somewhere and institute community policing, real community policing. And that's part of it. I texted him. I go, he said, yeah, that's been suggested that cops don't carry guns anymore.
I got to say, like,
why do they carry guns? They never shoot somebody with a gun who's shooting them. Almost never.
About 2 or 3 years ago, about 3 years ago when we were still at the old studio, this came up and I started to go, well, they can't really not carry guns because obviously, like in LA, we have a huge gang problem. But I've really come 360, 180 degrees on that, where I'm like, now they have to stop carrying guns because clearly they are part of the entire problem.
Oh, they're the biggest part of the problem.
And it's because that they think if the gun is the solution to the problem instead of like, no, your job is to de-escalate the situation.
De-escalate. They don't train them that way, though.
Yeah,
they're trained. Their life is most important. The citizen is the enemy. They're not the citizen to be. You're not there to protect their constitutional rights. You're there to protect your own life. And if you got to shoot some people who are mentally ill, go right ahead.
Right,
because there's nothing going to happen to these people.
I guarantee that training will change a lot if guns are taken out of the equation.
I agree with you 100%. That was we're on the same page.
And I'm really I really struggled with this, but I am now
take guns away from cops.
100% convinced. And by the way, I actually think it would do something for the gun debate in this country, where all of a sudden everybody's going to have to really confront the fact that no, your police officers aren't carrying guns.
Yeah.
How about they carry tasers?
I was say other policy would follow. And
yeah.
I would love to see us, and maybe you guys know, I think it might be Switzerland, but I'm not sure. But there's one of the European countries, they have a thing where it's like you have to go to a certain place to be able to use your gun, and all the ammo stays there.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I think that would be, because some people, it's like they grew up with guns, they want to hunt, whatever, and I know that's not going to go away anytime soon. But if it's like a special place, the ammo is only there,
at a gun
and
club.
Cops don't carry them. I mean, that'd be great.
That will never. Yes, that's ideally, but because of the NRA and whatever, and the Second Amendment and all that stuff, the way people keep misinterpreting the Second Amendment, they seem bent on misinterpreting the Second Amendment, which that's the key right there, is interpreting the Second Amendment correctly.
But I think if the National Police Union said we don't carry guns anymore, it would be nice if nobody else did too. It would be helpful. I think all of a sudden the national conversation
I think if you had just the sergeants carried guns, so if policemen show up to a situation that needs a gun, then they call their commanding officer.
Yeah, or you call
then he shows up with the gun.
Right.
And he passes out the guns or whatever. But this is crazy that every situation they're shooting people who are deaf because they they won't turn around. They didn't follow orders. So they're taught to escalate.
Right.
So again, this is I don't want to get upset about it like crazy, but how do you
But let's be clear, deaf and black.
Deaf and black. So I mean, they shoot guys who if they're having a stroke. They shoot guys who go into a diabetic coma. They're shooting everybody, Hank.
I think we're going to call this video "Vignettes from a Much More Rational Society." I mean, what you guys are saying makes a lot of sense. I agree with the gun. What you're saying about cops not carrying guns, what they do in Switzerland, the way that whole thing would work. But the whole core of this gun issue in America is about fear.
Yes.
And the police union, the biggest one, just endorsed Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it. I'm totally with you.
Right.
But boy, it does not seem possible given the lack of critical thinking skills. That is honestly, in my opinion, the biggest problem America has, because people can't tell when there's bullshit all around them.
The other thing is that, you know, in like Denmark, I think, a police officer goes to school for 3 years.
Oh, we're going to talk about that in another video.
Okay.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, these guys go to
We're
going
to talk about that in another video. Save it. All right. So if you want to see how long police actually have to go for training, how long do police have to be trained to be a cop in America? The answer just may surprise you. Or will it? Watch the next video.